Alafia to everybody out there. How is all my Ifa Ela family doing out there? Welcome back to Ifa Ela Ministry. On my last video, which was about 6 months ago, I did say we should watch this space that Ifa Ela Ministry will be back. We give honor to life for keeping us now and always. Did you watch this space at all? If you did, what did you receive? Well, what I received is that a lot more clarity about what Ifa Ela means. And that's what we're going to be obviously having clarity about as we go. We go along this journey with Ifa Ela Ministry. And first off, I would like to say big honor to everyone that have subscribed to Ifa Ela Ministry. I'd like to say thank you very much. What we're going to be talking about today in Ifa Ela Ministry is basically a little clarity about myself that obviously connected to why Ifa Ela Ministry. Ordinarily, my own basic self, I really didn't want to come back to Ifa Ela Ministry until December. But my higher self instructed me to get back on Ifa Ela Ministry this month, because this month, August, is a very special month. It's like a new year month. It's a renewal, where the cycle of life is completed and we receive a renewal from the deep and the highest, which us in the center is able to receive from God. So August is a month of Ogun, is a month of God. So when my heart instructed me to come back to Ifa Ela Ministry 6 months earlier than I intended to, I had to honor it, because when universe says move, you move. Some time ago, someone said to me, I'm not politically correct. Obviously, I didn't have a name on my character or how I view the world. Until that person says so. And it didn't bother me one bit, because I didn't take an offense because that person says that. However, what I'm very clear about myself is that I find myself in a position when I started to know anything about the world, particularly how the world relates to one another, which is what you call politics. Part of it is politics. And because I studied international relations, I start to find myself constantly saying, nothing makes sense, nothing makes sense. And that's what that person termed as, you're not politically correct. Because everything I talked about is always about the way of God, which means to think positive and to act positive. And because the system obviously didn't seem to particularly encourage positivity, so people who tend to think positive all the time, you will somewhat have somebody tagging you with names that don't always connect with who you really are. And one of it is you're not politically correct. So God is good all the way, inside and on the outside. And I started to think, all right, what should I be talking about now and all of that? I realized that the center of what I should be talking about has to be Ogun, the god of iron, and that obviously that's what precisely this month represents. And the first thing that came to my mind was that I'm not politically correct. And immediately I thought of that. A little boy just whispered and said, what good has he ever done? What good has it ever done anyone to be politically correct anyway? Look at the state of Africa. What good has being politically correct has done to Africa? Africa is one of the countries that don't have a system in place that take care and honor its own people. Africa don't have a role. Africa don't have a say or a role in what goes on in political world. How can there be a community or a country of people that don't have their own system, that do not have a say in what goes on in the system of the world? From that onwards, I knew in my heart clearly that this is the topic that I need to talk about for the second opening of Ifa Ela ministry, because obviously, as people will have been thinking, even myself, why Ifa Ela ministry? I am someone that is born as Ifa Ela, but obviously I did not know, and nobody tells me. I guess it's part of a journey of my life that only universe will unravel for me. So 2017, I find myself in a position whereby you can say someone is taking to Ajale. Ajale, in English, people will think of it as the deep, and it's what Jamaicans term Ja. And Igbo people have clarity as to what Ajale means, and so is Yoruba people. I'm not sure what Hausa people call Ajale. And this scenario was a place where I find myself. I didn't want anyone around me. I'm someone who is obviously what you call homely. I'm not too much of an outside person or too much of someone that's so big on friendship. Because for me, everything, the universe is my friend. I've always been like that all my life. You know, so even when I keep company with people, I always find more comfort in my own zone when I'm by myself. So it wasn't strange particularly, but this time in my life, 2017, which is kind of 3 years in a row, it started from the time that I don't know, but I started to know from, say, 2015. By the time 2015 to 2017, I was completely by myself. By the time I get to 2017, I really didn't want anybody around me, not a soul. So when people come around me, I tell them to go away, that I'm walking, I say to them. It gets to a point, nobody understands me no more. They start to, so you hear most of them saying she's crazy, stuff like this, she's gone mad. When I'm able to put one on one together, I realize people are beginning to not understand me anymore. And I wasn't at that stage in my life, I stopped understanding people completely, because I am not in the same energetic space as them. After a while, I came back to London because this was happening to me in Nigeria. I went to Nigeria. These 3 years, the universe said go to Nigeria, so I went to Nigeria, and this was happening to me. It was a very challenging situation for me, but I was all right. Nothing was wrong with me, but people just don't get it. Things that I'll say, I'll be talking about, worrying me, say don't do this, don't behave like this.